So I am here and a little bit under the weather. Just wanted to make sure I started this new year off with y'all tonight on this beautiful Monday. Okay, so guys may see on this title, it says proper packaging, right? And I did make a post on my stories basically going over what that looks like and what that means, right? So it says learning how to package, right? And I can pause it at the top. Okay, it says learning how to package properly your products or services helps you to save time and earn more money. So today we're talking about what packaging actually means, all right? I'm going to break down for you guys to get a very easy to understand method on how you can package yourself, your brands, your products, your services for others to be able to really see what you have to offer, see the value in what you have to offer, and pay what you are asking of them to pay, which will be ultimately your value. All right, we're not lowballing this. So this, as always, when I have these types of topics, they are for people who are really wanting to step up their game. There are people who really want to see themselves in a different light, to be able to really earn and make as much money as they possibly can with their talents. All right. So that's what this topic for tonight is going to be about. So if you are in this call with me and you may have your own products, you may have services that you provide, and you may also be your own brand where you are the face of your business and you make sure that you show up every day so that way people can see the face of your business. This is for you. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Most people are working harder than they need to because their offers aren't packaged correctly. We're going to go over what that means. Okay. The next one after that is me basically breaking it down tonight. So I kind of my stories to invite people to see what I'm talking about in this evening. All right. So that way they can get a better idea. So I have a couple of things here. So the first thing I have is ideally I have, of course, my notebook because I am making sure that I am bringing a notebook. At this point, these are class sessions, right? We are in class. I also have my chat GPT up here as well because that's my partner. That's my friend. That's G. You know what I'm saying? We making sure that we are providing things to you effectively at the end of the day. So definitely I have some points here. So I will try to go and piggyback off of what my chat GPT says. In this case, my nigga's name is Saul, S-O-L. Okay. Of course, things that I have ultimately. Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure I'm giving off information that I already know. Saul is just adding onto it. Just help me add on to that shit. All right. So if you're here for the first time and you are jumping in, we are talking about packaging your products, packaging your brand properly to ensure that you are getting paid appropriately for it. All right. So if you have a business, a product, a service, or if you are your brand, please do not hesitate to leave some comments at the bottom so that way we can possibly talk about it and we can get into those types of conversations. Also, if you have any questions, let me know. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about, first and foremost, is when it comes to properly packaging, is understanding what packaging is. Okay, is what people see when you show up, soon as you get into the room, or even when you're not in the room yet. Right. So ultimately, say for example, this might be the easiest way to break it down. So packaging could be when you're walking into the room fresh. How can they determine who you are, what you do, right? Some of us, we wear our name brands of what we do on us. Meaning, I might have a shirt that got my name on it. Now, usually I have my shirt on, but I didn't put it on tonight. But it will say Media by J, right? So usually if I walk around into a room, you're going to see Media by J. Then they're going to be looking like, okay, it's probably do media, right? They're probably a photographer, a videographer, right? I may walk in there with my camera, and they also are thinking these said things. So it's ultimately what you're portraying as your brand when you walk into the room, but in this case, even when you're not in the room. All right, for the virtual packaging that we're going to put together, okay, is what we're going to break down. Because I know people are like, what are you talking about? What is packaging? Like, that's something I had to learn over time because I knew as a graphic designer getting into basically what I'm doing right now, that I knew I wanted people to see me as a graphic designer, and what that meant was being able to put out as much work as possible, connect with a lot of people as much as I can, so that way word of mouth could spread, and then just make money. But I didn't know how to package myself. I didn't know that I had to put packages together and deals together. I didn't know that I really needed a logo, a website, a flyer, a banner, like different things, and they are all different depending on what your needs are for your specific business, right? So, okay, as I said, telling people who you are and what you do clearly. You have to be very clear. Is basically that first impression, right? So I'm gonna put that here. Your first impression when it comes to getting that first impression out there. So that is what people are gonna see as soon as you walk into the room. Why is it important? If you are somebody that doesn't want to grow, if you're somebody that wants to get more visibility, these things are important because you do not want to be the person in the room that nobody knows anything about. That you have not communicated with anybody else. They have not received your message in some form of fashion, whether verbally or non, and are not able to articulate who you are and what you do. Even if they don't know who you are, being able to know what you do is going to be essential in how you are presenting that. Okay. Again, even if you're not in a room, sometimes it might be you leaving a business card in the vendors tables, right? You might be leaving a flyer somewhere, or your song might be playing in the background, or there's a piece of art that's hung up that has your signature look on it. Like, there's a variety of different ways that this can happen. And for the most part, if you're thinking based on how I'm kind of, a lot of them are going to be based on marketing materials, right? Because at the end of the day, these are some of your packaging items. Some of them can be physical and some of them can be virtual. That's going to make my next topic, okay? This one is telling people who you are and what you do clearly. The next one is packaging that can be physical or virtual, okay? Go ahead and read the list down right quick, and then we're going to go ahead and finish wrapping up with the physical or virtual and break down exactly what that means, all right? So first one, tell people who you are and what you do clearly. 2, packaging can be physical or virtual. 3, what a package looks like. 4, why packaging is important. 5, how to package on a budget, okay? How to package on a budget, all of which are very, very important. The last one, I know a lot of you guys are like, I have a whole lot of money, but I do need all these things. How can I make this happen? I'm going to tell you how, okay? Packaging can be physical or virtual. Physical, as it says, as I got, like I said, got your shirts, got your flyers, got your business cards, right? That's some form of packaging. So again, these are marketing materials by themselves, but together they are a package, okay? These are marketing materials by themselves. You got your flyers, your business cards, your buttons, your pins, your pens, for example, right? Your pens, without me throwing it on the ground, like wristbands. All those things are marketing materials, but put together, they are a package. They are going to tell a story. They're going to tell exactly who you are, exactly what you do, okay? Whatever is displayed on that particular item, all right? The virtual things can be media kit, which also could be physical if you print it out, but your media kit, your promo reels, you got your voiceovers for some places. That can be sent out virtually. Pictures, those things that somebody can receive via an email, via a link, whatever, those will be your virtual items, okay? Those things, again, by themselves are marketing material, but put together properly can be a whole package for yourself, a brand package deal, okay? These options that Saul gave me was basically examples, flyers, like I said, prints, headshots, promo videos, social profiles, digital media kits, right? And of course, this is where the quote comes into play. Packaging is simply how you brand your, start over. Packaging is simply how your brand shows up when you're not in the room, okay? Next one would be, once we understand what package we're looking at, whether it's virtual or physical, keep in mind you need both in some form of fashion, right? Because you don't want to limit your money, you don't want to limit your visibility at the end of the day. And then, of course, we go into what packaging looks like and what they ultimately include, right? So we know what these different things can involve a package. Right now is in understanding if, for example, right, I work with a lot of performers. I work with a lot of pole dancers, and a lot of them are performers in a sense of they want to get booked. They are travelers. They are getting paid for their talent. They are ultimately, series classes to keep refining their skills, and they want to make sure that they are having ways to ultimately be seen as somebody that is a professional in their field. At the end of the day, whatever field that they are, you want to be looked at as a professional, as an expert, as somebody who's been doing this. So if I come in here, I'm claiming it right now, I am a videographer, I do this, you are going to believe me about what I say, but you're going to need to know what I got to prove. Okay? When it comes to somebody like myself or even other performers that I work with, ultimately they have proof of concept showing that they have been doing this. People vouch for themselves. They have content to show it of their experience. So this is where you can decide and determine what would be included in your package. So again, because it's easiest for me, because I know a lot of people that are in this realm, when it comes to performers and pole dancers, ideally, what are people are looking for when they are submitting to go to perform at another show or another state, sometimes another country? Some of the main things that they're going to ask you for is your bio, a picture, a video, ideally unedited, meaning that you're not chopped it up. It's not doesn't have a lot of effects on it. It's a straight run through of 60 seconds to see how you flow, right? And that's pretty much the most part. And of course, if you have your social media public, so they can go and check to see how long you've been doing this, if you've been doing this, possibly give that page a shout out, right? To put it along on their program, just so that people can connect with you. Because at the end of the day, more visibility. So if you have a media profile that people can say, hey, I found you here and I can follow you, then because you had went to another show, it's going to give you more visibility. It's going to give you more followers in this sense, right? So you have to also think about making sure you have all of these things ready. Sometimes you might have multiple options. You like, yo, I did this one this time, let me try something else. I did this one this time, let me try a different one. Like, I want to use this color. Maybe I want to use it when my hair was looking like this. You might have multiple options when it comes to something as simple as your pictures. And that's okay. But ultimately, having a place where you can go and grab those said pictures at will without having to search and look for it. Having all of these things in one place, that way you can either provide one link that gives all these things, but if you're filling out a form, which a lot of performers do nowadays, just having a Google Drive, for example, a Dropbox link would be no sense for you, just so that way you can ensure that you're not having to go and find it from different places. You already have it in one place. That is your package. Okay? It could be you having a bio already written out, right? That can be reused or edited depending on what your theme is going to be, right? And tweaked over time. That could be you having several professional pictures ready to go, right? And that way you can just pick them out and change them out. I know some people that use one picture for all of their flyers, but you are at the end of the day. So there's also how you determine you want to do that. There's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you have something to show, because at the end of the day, people want to be able to present you in the best possible light, right? So there's that, and also the video, right? And it may be fancy. You might have your own website. That's cool. And if you don't, make sure that you have a public link that people can go and check out and look at when it comes to what you do. Okay. What I have on my list, all right, is basically headshots, promo reel, main flyer, or media kit, and a website or a landing page. In this case, it could be something like a link tree if you don't have a website of your own, right? And that's okay, because we're just starting out. If you don't have anything, if you don't have a lot of these things already, or if you have most of them and you're trying to get more to ensure that you have your whole package intact, then this will be something to go off of, a list that you can ultimately use down the line and over again. Okay. Now, why is the package important? I kind of a little bit with you guys just to be able to really emphasize on the benefit of having a package. It saves you time. Like I put in that post, it saves the person time. So let me go back and show that one more time. So learning how to package your products properly saves you time, because I'm not having to go and search for it. I'm not having anybody wait for me when it comes to filling out my form. I already know what my links are. I already know what my pictures are, my videos are. I can just go ahead and input it and I'm good to go, right? And ultimately, why it helps you earn money, this could be something down the line. This could be something now, right? So say, for example, you're signing up for a paid gig, right? So there are some times where you might be going in for a paid gig and they need to have all of these things. Keep in mind, sometimes you're going in for a gig and, one second, sometimes you might be going in for a gig and off the top, you're not getting paid immediately, like a deposit type situation. You have to show up just to ensure that they are going to make sure that you're taken care of as far as tips go, or something down the line that you might be able to sell, right? So if you go to this event, you're passing out business cards, possibly you're connecting with people on your Instagram, connecting with the other performers, because that's also a collaboration. And then ultimately, as people are joining on your social media profiles, they're seeing what you do. And if you have something to offer, as if you may have a GoFundMe, you might have your Cash app might be there, you might have a subscription-based website where people can sign up and see what you do outside of performance hours, and they can pay you there. That way, you're making that money long term. It's something that can keep coming in, even if you're not performing then and there, right? That's something I definitely do talk about, like the OnlyFans and Fansly and other platforms, even Patreon, to where you can actually get paid just to provide a service, whether you are showing somebody how to move like you or you're just moving, right? People just want to be able to see you, and you demand for it because you have been showing up for yourself in that way, right? So those are some things that I feel like is why it's important, how you can earn more money. And now when it comes to the paid gigs, a lot of times they're gonna be a little more specific. So they may ask you for an actual link that may not necessarily be a link tree. It might be something more specific like a website, you know? So if you already have one, again, that's great. But if you don't, now you got to figure out how to get it, right? And this is where somebody like myself or somebody else might be able to help you get one set up really quick. And ideally, it's not difficult, but it is understanding where to go, so that way you aren't wasting time and ultimately wasting money. See what I'm saying? So everything comes into play together. So when you have all of these things already in place and intact, and understand that they're prepared for whenever it's time to submit, there's nothing for you to have to wait on. Ultimately, you have more time to submit to more things. Ultimately, you have more options to be able to get more paid opportunities. So when you start thinking about it like that, you move different. You start thinking about things different and being more intentional with your positioning of yourself and your brand. So packaging is important. He's already nailed it pretty much. The packaging saves you time because you're not scrambling every time somebody asks for information, right? It helps you make more money because people can quickly see your value without asking 10 questions because you already put it there. I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of you guys might be like, I don't have a lot of information to put on here, but some of you have way more information than you think. Some of you have way more information than you think. And what I mean by that is you all can literally create a media kit right now. You can go on, for example, your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI that you use and say, hey, I want to create a media kit. And what you're using them for one, is right now just to get the information and to look a certain type of way, right? So that means getting all your social media information involved, getting all your details, say, this is my social media links, these are my followers, go into your analytics, find out how many views you've got in the last 30 days, 60 days possibly, right? And put all of that in there form. Then you go into how many shows you performed in for performers. If you're a videographer, like how many shows or events that I have filmed, or how many companies I have worked with, right? And list them out, right? And put when you started doing the said thing up until the date that you are creating the media kit, or just put until because you are still currently working, okay? This is her media kit, okay? This is basically a picture she already had taken from another photographer. And I was like, yo, so she was like, because she had a media kit before, but we updated it. And actually, we can update this. So keep in mind, your media kits can kind of 2-3 years. So meaning the date on this one says 2025. And it's 2026 that we're getting into. But I'm not going to worry about trying to have her change it right now because for the most part, everything is still accurate in it, right? But if it gets like maybe a little more than that, I may have it updated because by that time, some things definitely will be changed, right? Like she got shows she's going to be doing here. So it's probably going to be at the end of the year, she might change it. It might be updated. So if I go to the next page, so you guys can get an idea of what that looks like, you can show your media reach, right? Again, that's where your number of followers are, views that you're getting. And you can do it to make yours look even more attractive is collectively use all of your social media profiles and put all of the views from all those from the last 90 days and combine them. So in this case, as far as Jada's media kit, it shows Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and she's had over 1.5 million views collectively. Okay, so that be one individually because that could be a lot. It could be disheartening for some people. They might feel like they're not doing enough, but in actuality, again, you're doing way more than you think. Okay, so then, which is basically a list of what she's available for. This is why this is important. So I know a lot of you might be like, I don't think I have all this information. I don't think it's going to be beneficial for me. I might not be chosen. I'm not asking you to be chosen for anything. I'm asking you to choose yourself. I'm asking you to post and put yourself out there. Keep in mind, these were made using Canva. So you don't need a very fancy graphic designer to come and do this for you. If you don't have the time, then yeah, you might pay for somebody to do it for you. But if you're like, you know what, let me figure this thing out, then you can set this up on your own. In this case, she has what she's available for. What do you do? What do you want people to know that you do more of? Okay, that way list all those things in that I'm available for section, right? And then underneath that, you can put down things that you've been a part of, where your portfolio might be found in, what you may have, when you started that experience, right? So that way people can say, oh, they've been doing this a while, right? And even if you only been in one studio, only work one business, you can even put what shows from that one studio you've been a part of, what other events that business has had that you have partaken in. You can list those titles. It's a way of how you can. It's not a manipulation. But it's at the end of the day understanding that everything has its own. Just because I work with, for example, and I'm not pushing them in this sense, but I do a lot of work with them. I might go say I work with Pilates, for example, right? I can just put literally Pilates right there and just leave it at that. But then at the end of the day, I'm like things under it inside of Pilates that I actually have done. So that's me going into Twisted Fairy Tales. That is me going into the Halloween showcase. That is me going into the Christmas showcase and putting those down per year, and people will be able to determine over time how long I've been doing this said thing. Keep in mind, I don't have a media kit, and am I wrong in that for saying that? I don't have a media kit. I actually wrote down my numbers, but I never actually fully put it together. So for the purpose of me doing this, I'm gonna create my media kit and I'm gonna show you guys what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna put right here. So I'm gonna put in a star, create own media kit, and what I'll do is I will show you guys step by step on how I create this same media kit, just so that if you guys are confused, you don't know what to do, you can see it based on how I'm creating mine. All right, and you guys can figure that out and get it going. I did create another one. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up, and we're not gonna get too much into it, but it's for Ether. I'm pretty sure theirs is taken down because there's been some changes for sure. Nope, actually it's right here. Now is it full? No, it's just the cover, which is fine. Because sometimes you can post the whole thing on your page, and sometimes you can go ahead and literally just do that's the picture. Literally do just the cover, just so people can know that it's up there. And then for you to decide if you want to pin it, I advise you to pin it, just so that way you don't have to worry about people looking for it, because it goes back into how you're presenting yourself as a business. Pin the media kit. All right, so now what we're gonna do is gonna talk about how to package on a budget. All right, so okay, I did have some tips on this a little bit, but we're gonna go over it again. Okay, so I have right here, basically the pictures is gonna be one of your most important things to have. The pictures is gonna be where you can either set up a photo shoot. I will tell you guys this, as a photographer, there are a lot of photography networking events in my area. Look for some, probably on Eventbrite, maybe on Facebook. Go in like the Facebook groups. That way you can possibly do some. They call it. It's like can't remember the actual word, but ultimately photographers looking for models and models looking for photographers, and they work together to be able to give one or the other what they need. It's a barter system in that sense, right? So that's something that I definitely feel like you should take advantage of if you're on a budget. If you have a friend that has a camera, like a really good friend, and has a camera of their own, or they have a really good camera on their phone, you can just set yourself up on a nice backdrop. It doesn't have to be white. It could be something that's pretty, but something that's not too noisy in the background. Make them give you a nice portrait mode shot and ensure that your lighting is great. And that could be your start to build a portfolio if you have not done so already. Okay? Just to know that, oh, cool, I got pictures, I can start rolling with something, and then we can add on to it over time. Because usually, if you're a performer, you go to multiple events, more than likely you'll have opportunity to purchase pictures from the photographer at the event. So if you really like them, you'll be able to add on those images to your, and ultimately add that on to future packaging. You see what I'm going with this? So that's one way when it comes to photography. The next thing, when it comes to gathering your clips, right? I will say this. I have seen in the past, people have posted and shared clips where the video is not the best. The lighting is not the best, right? And they also have shared the video where it's blurry in the sense of the person that's performing is looking very grainy, very blurry, right? And sometimes it's not even them performing. And keep in mind, sometimes if you haven't performed at all, you may have to just work with what you got. Meaning, you might have been in a class and you have done some freestyle. I'd advise, yes, do a freestyle video of moving freely and not to where you're looking at an instructor and you're trying to send that video to show that you've been doing some shit. That's not going to cut it. I want you to, anytime you are providing content to anybody, whatever the opportunity may be, to ensure that your video is of the highest quality that you can provide. Not the highest quality that I can provide as a videographer or anybody else can provide, but that you can provide. So if you're like, you know what, the best I can do is a 1080, it looks good, it looks clear enough for me, that's all I got, let me make it happen, do that, okay? But if you're already second guessing it and you're like, it doesn't look best, I don't like it, go ahead and get something recorded. It's nothing to go ahead and do something in an open space if you have one in your own home, or rent out a space if you can, or already are close to a some sort, go ahead and do something there. That way you have something in a professional aspect just so you can be able to show somebody, for one, an unedited clip. That's the most important. And for two, something that can be shown in a promo sense, right? So what I mean by that is recently, and I got a lot of stuff to show people. If you're, again, on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of this, okay? So go back to my page, because I posted one, and this is of one of my favorite people, Carol, right? So this is her video, and I know I'm going to have to move this over. So let me pause it right quick. So that's Carol. Okay. So a promo video that I made for her, okay? And for those of you that are watching it on Instagram. The promo video is basically a cinematic shot. That's how I create mine, right? Everybody is different, but for me, I like to give you guys two options. If you're booking with me, I'm going to give you one where it's a vertical video, so basically like a reel, and where it's a horizontal video. That's going to be giving it to you like a YouTube video, right? So what that would basically look like is having your reel, which means that you'll be moving freely. It's going to be a freestyle. You can flow and just show your best as much as you can, right? Keep in mind, it's on the fly, so you're gonna do as much as you can. If you can have something planned out, that's even better. That way, you got something you can show to anybody else that may be looking at it, right? And sometimes, if you worked with me before, like you already have your unedited clip, right? But in this sense, for the promo reel, what I like to do with those are those I like to take my time on. They're cinematic because I am recording mine specifically on not only on my DSLR, but it might be a little darker, a little more moody, right? I might have her move intentionally, like I'll show you guys right here. And I did mute it as far as that goes, so you won't hear it, okay? So I'm kind of directing her. I'm saying, hey, this is what I want you to try to do. This is where I want you to go. I want you to stand in this corner, walk up to me slowly, and I can capture it, right? So now she's doing that. I already have the vision in my mind of what it's going to look like. I just need her to get in place, and that way we can film. And then as she's moving towards me, eventually I do tell her to stop. Then we try it a few times just to ensure that I have, out of those 3 shots, I will have the best shot. So when I go and do the editing portion, I can see which ones I can choose, obviously, and where I can cut and slice certain images and certain parts, just so that way she is looking really amazing and cinematic in her movements. Because I want you to have that, okay? Now, looking like, who's going to need it? I don't know who's going to need it. I know they're going to need it unedited if you're submitting for something, but if you're looking at trying to have a promo, think about what it's going to do for you over time, right? So if you have a website or if you have a YouTube channel and you might not have your cinematic video of you performing, you might have, before in the past. So this one is specifically about you. So you're doing and not from another show, right? So in this case, it could have your name on it. It could say what you do. It could even have your social media link at the bottom or a website, again, if you have it, just so that way people can say, oh, this is who they are. This is what they do. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that is dope. I would love to have her and probably book her. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to Carol, she gets booked. Okay? So it's an honor to even do this, but it just gives you an idea of what to look for when it comes to these types of things, all right? So this is where gathering the best clips to create, and you can use Canva. I mean, you can use Canva too, but CapCut is ideally gonna be your best leading video editor, and or InShot is also really still use InShot to this day. I don't care what nobody say. So those are gonna be your best ones you can ultimately put together, so that way you have something that looks really nice. Now, the next is a promo flyer. I get it. Shows, places you might go to, they might provide you a flyer. And that's fine. Like, definitely use that because you're going to need that. And you're going to add on to them over time. You might even use it in your media kit somehow. But ultimately, I want you to have a flyer that's just for you. Doesn't have to be a flyer based off of anybody else. Doesn't have to be in anybody else's show, nobody else's theme. It is just your flyer, your generalized flyer that says, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. And yes, it may be almost related to your media kit, but the difference is the media kit itself is actually going to say media kit on it with the year and all of that. So it's going to look very technical. Whereas a flyer is going to be more of a presentation. For example, for those that are on YouTube and you saw me post up Ethers, the cover would be pretty cool, but it still needs to be said of what exactly it is on, what does she actually do on the flyer, right? So if I go back to her image, it doesn't actually say what she does, right? It just has the name as well as the links, right? And how to contact. So it does say at the top, it says model, dancer, content creator. But for the flyer aspect, you think of a flyer. Because this one is giving cover. So if you think of a flyer, then you're going to automatically be like, you know what? I need to make sure that I have something on here that says, okay, this is what I do, and this is how they can contact me, right? And legible for them to see, so they're not having to squint and try to find the information. It's already there and plain and in their face, okay? So the main things I want you guys to take when it comes to building a flyer ultimately. And like, I may have one on my own page, and I could be wrong, I could be right, right? For example, it's not my flyer, like my flyer per se. It's just a motion flyer to promote a media package for performers, but it's an idea of what I'm going for, right? Because it shows me, I offer you, so that's an idea, right? So it's not exactly the same thing, but it's definitely an idea for it. So ultimately, just putting something together that shows who you are, what you do, and in that way. Oh, I had hers up here too. I did. Oh, there's Lola's. Okay. So it'll be the second page of Lola's as well over here. So there's that option, right? So keep in mind, we did set up pictures for that one as well. So she did have a photographer to come out for it. And we also put together all her information. So as she grew, we started catching up and keeping up with her analytics so that over 6 months to a year, it was able to put something together. So it's a plan. Like, I put a plan out for you. It's supposed to make sense because I want you to be successful and I want you to grow. And I want people to be able to take you seriously as you are growing. Okay? So, right? And the last thing would be the landing page. Now, I'm going to say this because Saul told me to say this, and I want you guys to understand this, okay? Now, I need a website right now, okay? You need is somebody that people go to, something that people can look at to contact you, to see what you do. In this case, it could be something as simple as an Instagram page. It could be a Facebook page, a LinkedIn, profile page in the moment, right? Still keep those things even when you get a website, but ultimately, you can start there. Linktree is also really good just because of the fact that it does give you a combination of places. It could give you one link that you can combine all of your social media platforms on, right? So you aren't having to have somebody go to multiple different places unless they really want to. So in this case, don't feel pressure to have a website right now. I know it could be scary. You're not sure if you need it. You're not sure if you're really going to be doing this that long. You don't even think it's being that serious. But I promise you, it's that serious. If you're doing everything else prior to this part of me talking about the website, then you ultimately do need a website. But before you get started there, you can go here, right? And as you do that, then over time, you'll get the site. You can get you a landing page. That's going to be crazy. Now, again, as always, for those of you actually on here, I want to go to Jada LaPearl's website. So this is Jada LaPearl's site. So I'm going to scroll to give you guys an idea, but I'm not going to click on everything, right? So this is basically what she has on her site. People can actually join her mailing list. They go to, of course, they can click on her booking, her past events. Because keep in mind, your Instagram, you have so much stuff going on there. It's not where you can just go to an events page on Instagram, right? So this would be great to have that. If she has a blog and she has more, which would also, in this case, link to her link tree, and then of course our social media information at the top, as well as her email, right? A professional picture at the top, where she can sign up for the mailing list, her specialties, those make a difference and they matter. Her about me, again, I mentioned how important that is, as well the bios, and of course where you can get more of her events, right? And of course, how to book her, what to expect when it comes to booking her. That's just one thing, all right? I'm not going to go into an in-depth thing ultimately when it comes to that, but I did want you guys to see what that looks like. Ultimately, it's because of the fact that I want you guys to understand how important this thing is, okay? I show you how to ultimately make money by being yourself, by doing something that you love. If there's something that you love so much you put money into it, I feel like you should get money out of it as well, right? So I'm not in this place of, oh, it's just for fun. It's cool. You can't do that. I'm doing it could be just for fun. But this is what I'm doing to get paid. This is what I'm doing to make sure that I'm taking care of my family as well as myself and my business. So for me to take it seriously, I have to move in a serious manner, right? I have to be serious as fuck about it. And I want you to be also serious as fuck about your shit. So when it comes to that, there's a certain type of way that I'm going to talk to you, a certain type of way I'm going to reach out to you, a certain type of way I'm going to make sure that you are going to get these things done because they need to be done. Okay? So my final topic for today, ultimately, but I did want you guys to get the gist of what that looks like because this is important. Okay? I said this many times. It is, all right? And I want you guys to understand what you can ultimately do to be able to take your passion, take your love to a whole different level and make money off of it. All right. So if you are looking to do more with yourself, looking to information with yourself, maybe be able to have a package presented and put together in a meaningful way, or need help with your media kit, reach out to me and let me know. Okay, you can leave comments as always at the bottom of my videos. You can reach out to me in my DMs. You can even text my business line. You know what I'm saying? That's 404-458-7603. Okay, just say I need help with my media kit. I can help you out with that, right? Now, if you want to be able to do it yourself, again, I'll have video tutorials that I'll put together to make sure that you guys can get those tips and advice and the help that you need to be able to put these things together. Because it's not easy, but I can help you make it easy. So with that being stated, that is pretty much what I have for you guys tonight on how to properly package your business or brand.